Hello, I decided to return to Joann's just to check it out and see what has been going on there as of late. If you're new to my channel, I thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Cherie, and let's go ahead and get into it. Upon arrival into the store, I was automatically greeted with seasonal items. I think it is quite odd to see Halloween decorations in July, and I don't understand why the Halloween section is fully stocked, yet the rest of the store really is not. I was also very surprised to see that the Viking Sewing Center has been removed from Joann's. And I went on Reddit and I saw that roughly 40 stores are supposed to have the Viking Sewing Center removed. I don't know if Viking made that move in anticipation of Joann's going out of business or if they just decided to do it just because. I kind of have mixed feelings about the Viking Sewing Center moving out of Joann's. I think that it's good that they've moved out of Joann's because of some issues that were created by them being inside of the store. First and foremost, a lot of customers would come into Joann's in anticipation of visiting the sewing center, only to realize that the sewing center inside of Joann's was closed. So it created these issues with customers wanting to get help in the service center and not having anyone available, since the hours of Viking were totally separate from that of Joann's. Also, I noticed that the sewing machines in the service center were not in as good of condition as those found at the authorized dealer within the same town. And I also noticed that whenever I would go into Joann's, sometimes the machines would be covered with a cloth when there was no associate available, but other times the machines would be left uncovered and there would be customers going over and looking at and messing with the machines while there was no one there. And I kind of think that perhaps some of these customers unwittingly screwed up the machines while there was no one there and they were left unattended. So I think that it's a good idea that Viking moved out because of the hours and also because of the tampering with machines when no associates were available. However, I do realize that not all towns have an authorized Viking dealer, so this is going to put a lot of people in a bad way who don't have another authorized dealer in their local area. The current state of the sewing center is not so great. There are boxes everywhere, and it looks like they have sort of turned that section into a place to store inventory. I find that kind of odd because there are boxes throughout all of the aisles in the store and the shelves remain empty. The next section of the store that I visited was the knitting and crochet aisle, and I did that because this summer I really have been interested in doing crochet projects. I wanted to pick up some new crochet hooks just because I've been experimenting with different hooks. However, I noticed that most of the shelves were virtually empty and all of the sizes that you would generally want or need for crochet were missing. Like the size 4, 5, and 6 are probably the most popular, but all of those were low stock. So Joann's really needs to do better with that. And I actually looked in some of the boxes that were on the aisle to see if I could find what I was looking for. However, none of those boxes actually included what was on the aisle. Instead, there was like ribbon and just random stuff in these boxes that were in the aisles. And I noticed that probably 80% of the yarn in there was acrylic, and I really don't use acrylic yarn for garment making. I only use that for like if I'm making a bag or something like that that I'm not going to wear on my body, because I just don't like to wear plastics on my body. But I don't know. I just wish that there were more natural fibers in the yarn section, and that segues on to my next section that I visited in the store, which was the fabric section. I usually don't even visit the fabric section inside of Joann's anymore because they never have what I'm looking for. I counted at least 4 aisles full of flannel, minky, and felt. Those are materials that a quilter might use for a baby blanket in the winter, or you might make cloth pads or cloth diapers or something like that and use those sort of materials for that. But other than that, those materials really aren't frequently used items in the sewing community, so I really do not understand why there's that many aisles worth of those materials there. If you were going to be picking up some material like that, you most likely would just go to Walmart and buy that. Joann's really should be for material that is actually for the person who loves to sew. And the person who loves to sew most likely is going to want 100% cotton for their quilts, and they don't want that thin cotton that you can see through. They want that nice quality cotton, because if you're going to be spending 40 hours plus on a project, you don't want that project to be thrown out in 6 months when you wash it and holes come in it. It's just not worth it to go through all of that when you spend so much money on your sewing machine and you spend so much time and effort making a project. For the garment maker, Joann's has a lot of nothing. They have this very small section of woven materials, which is mostly what I like to sew with. However, there wasn't a color palette or patterns that really stood out to me as something that I would like to buy. Then the vast majority of other fabrics that they had in this section were either athletic wear or special occasion. The special occasion material mostly consisted of cheap polyester and rayon blends, and that really wasn't something that interested me personally. If I were to want to get material for a special occasion, I most likely would order that online and not in Joann's. Now, I did cut this little shopping excursion short because there really wasn't much else to see inside of the store except for a bunch of boxes and disorganization. I really don't know if Joann's is going to make it out of this one because they're looking kind of bad in my location. I don't know about your location, but mine is looking pretty bad. Well, anyhow, guys, I hope that you enjoyed taking a look at what was inside of my local Joann's, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.